Hey guys, and welcome to the video. Today we will be showcasing our full completion of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. This is the fourth game in the series and a continuation from the last game that was released for the main series, Crash Bandicoot Warped. There was a brief pause in the series until the fourth installment was added. By brief, 19 years. However, within this time there was a release of the Insane Trilogy, which was the first 3 games fully remastered into one bundle. We've also completed this game, however we have lost the stream footage. Hopefully that video will be out soon. As you'd expect from a Crash Bandicoot title, there are plenty of levels in which platform sections that get harder as you progress through the game. In the levels there are a return of collectibles such as crates, Wumpa Fruit, and a new collectible which is just new to this game, such as the hidden gems, but more about those later. Now, there is a reason that this game scored 9 out of 10 difficulty rating across multiple walkthrough guides, with an estimated time of 100 hours to complete. The reason that this game takes so long to complete is there's 3 different achievements. Each one requires something different in a level. The first being Perfectionist, which requires you to complete the level without dying and collecting every single crate. The second achievement is being Faster Than Sound, which requires you to complete the level under a time constraint to achieve a platinum relic. The last achievement being Overachiever, which is the last achievement in the game for getting 106% completion. So, step 1, finishing the story. To complete this game, there are 38 levels and 5 boss levels spread out across 10 different islands, which copies the same style as Crash Bandicoot 1 for its overworld. Something new to Crash 4 is the live system. There are 2 options, retro or modern. Retro follows the same structure as the old games, where collecting lives from crates and Wumpa Fruit adds up to the total. But once that total hits 0, it's game over and you'll have to restart the level from the beginning, losing any progress that you might have made. Or modern, which effectively gives unlimited lives and instead offers counters of death per level. We opted for the modern style of lives because we got to some of the levels in the game and just repeatedly died. Over and over and over. The main story follows Crash and Coco as they try to stop Dr. Neocortex and Dr. Entropy from taking over the multiverse by recovering the quantum mass that each have special ability that can aid us throughout the levels. Specific levels we can also play as Crash's old girlfriend Torna and a return of a boss from the older games, Dingo Dial, plus for the first time in the main series we can control Dr. Neocortex as he comes back from the future to stop himself taking over the multiverse and the impact it may have. After completing the last boss, we went back through all the levels to complete any of the miscellaneous trophies that we might have missed along the way. There are multiple miscellaneous trophies and they are popping up on screen now. Step 2. Coloured gems and hidden gems. There are 4 coloured gems hidden in specific levels that you need to obtain in order to enter certain areas in other levels through the gem path. The ruby gem is found on Insanity Peak. You will need to play through the level until you reach this point here. Once you got over to this section, you'll see this on the wall here, which is an arrow showing you the point that you need to stand on the platforms in this next room. So head over to this section and start jumping on these platforms. You will also hear in the background a little ding, a little audio cue to say that you are stepping on the platforms in the right order. It's pretty much straightforward. Just take your time so you don't fall off in between or phase through the platforms. And once you land on the last one, you should see the red gem pop up here. Topaz gem is found in the level Run It By You, which you may be tempted at the very beginning of the levels to jump onto the jetboard. However, if you jump over to the boxes on the right, you will see that there's a moving platform that we also need to jump onto. Be careful not to fall into the water, and then when you jump on these boxes and double jump, you will get the coloured gem. The emerald gem is found in Hit the Road. You need to complete this on the rail section, and once you complete this first section, you will be into the place where you can get the emerald gem. You need to come down to this section here and spin into this trash can, which will open this remote control car. Keep spinning into the remote control and it will eventually hit the nitro crate and the green emerald gem will be yours to get. The sapphire gem is one of the hardest gems to get in the game. You need to complete dragging on without collecting any of the crates, which is easier said than done as there are some tricky platforming sections where crates can be unavoidable. Look at this part here. This part has 2 boxes at the opening, which we did first time, but it doesn't always go that way. We miss a ledge. We can also slide too far and break crate, which means we have to start again from the beginning of the level. There's also this TNT section which we landed on more often than not, which meant we had to start again from the beginning of the level. Thankfully halfway through there is a bonus section which does count as a checkpoint. All you need to do is jump into the bonus section, fall off the platform, and this will count as a checkpoint and you will spawn from here if you were to die again. Now that we're safe, just avoid all the enemies, such as this lion, which can knock you off the platforms, this dragon, which caught us right at the end and made us die, but we spawned back at the bonus, and then on the very end, avoid the last two lions, which almost knocks us back into the crates at the very end of this level, but we managed to get there, get past, and a blue gem is ours. The hidden gems are very difficult to find, and especially on some of the levels, which can be very tricky to get to. There's one hidden gem hidden throughout each of the levels, including the 3 other characters, Torna, Dingodile and Dr. Neo Cortex. Step 3. Inverted mode. Now it's time to replay every single level, but on the inverted mode, including the boss fights. This mode basically mirrors a level and applies a different filter from each world that you go in. Some are a little bright like the first world, which can be a bit hurtful for the eyes. Some are really fun like this black and white filter, but this speeds you up as well, so you move a little bit quicker. Then there's this one that is like an underwater level, and no gamer has ever said that underwater levels are the best levels in any game, so you run as slow as you possibly can do. The level that this applies to, Rush Hour, is also by far the longest levels on Crash Bandicoot 4. You play as Dingodile and then you swap over to Torna later on, and then there's another hard section with Torna. Some more of the filters are really good, like this one, which is a bit of a throwback to older graphics. It reminds me of like a Game Boy game, and this is what is applied to these certain levels towards the end of the game. There's also a filter which, when you spin or when you defeat an enemy, splashes colour across the map. This is a really cool concept, and I think they could have ran a bit further with this one. Once you completed every single level, which means getting all the Wumpa Fruit gems, the box gems, and the hidden gems in the inverted mode, we will have completed the inverted mode, and we can move on to using the normal filter for the game for the next step. Step 4. The flashback tapes. To get the flashback tapes is like a death route from the older games. You need to get to a certain point in each level in order to get the tape. Once you do, you can select the levels from the main menu. The flashback tapes are like bonus areas in every level that you see in the game. However, they're a lot more tricky, and some of them can be extremely challenging to get done. You need to go through each and every level, collecting every single crate and making sure not to fall. As I say, some of the levels can be extremely tricky, and some of them can be really challenging and time consuming. Thankfully, towards the middle of each and every single level is a checkpoint, which is very different to the standard bonus levels that we're used to seeing. Checkpoint is a blessing because the next section is usually more challenging than the first section before the checkpoint, and having that added bonus of being able to die and keep practicing this next section will help you get through each level more efficiently. I think that the Coco levels are a lot more challenging than the Crash levels. They require more timing, better platforming, and more practice throughout all of the levels that Coco is used for. Once you've finished all of the flashback tapes, which requires you to get all the boxes, you will have finished the easy parts of the game. We only have 2 more parts of the game left, which are the really difficult stuff, so this is where the fun begins. Step 5. Punishment. Whoops. Step 5. Platinum Relics. To start the relics, you need to get the stopwatch at the beginning of each level. There are boxes numbered which stop the timer for 1, 2 and 3 seconds for each box that you do get. You see the movement is quite erratic, which is why you need to complete the game to unlock triple spin, which makes you move quicker. But one false move and it's starting again from the start. What will happen more often than not, as you're going so quick, you'll find yourself doing silly mistakes that you will continue to do over and over again. There's a lot of on-rail sections which I found difficult, such as this dinosaur level here. There's also polar bear levels. I thought it would take me a lot longer than they did, but I did actually really well in these levels. On to the hardest levels that we thought were the hardest to get the platinum relics on. There was 2 that share the same ending, one being an alternate path and one just being the normal level, that being Dino Dash and Rock Stop. We spent over 4 hours on a stream trying to complete these levels. Not only is there a couple of platforming areas which are very difficult, there's also a few rail sections and a few chasing sections where you're chased by a T-Rex. We were making silly mistakes over and over again, falling at this section and the next section we kept dying at because we ignored Twitch's advice to slide for longer. We couldn't get it in our head and we died here multiple times. There were so many silly mistakes along this run, missing boxes when we tried to land on boxes. The run going, we were coming towards the end of the run and finally done with this level, when we accidentally bounced off this box and landed in the lava. It couldn't get worse, or could it? We finally managed to finish one of the levels, and I will let you listen to the Twitch reaction. Please. No, I'm so far off. The reason that it was getting annoying is because of the Dingodile section. It was so easy to complete, but we almost struggled with the Crash sections. Once we finally got this done, we were on to the last level of the game. This level on our first playthrough, we absolutely struggled. It's a lot of different masks and a lot of tricky platforming using those masks in a quick succession. But once you get used to the movement and once you get used to the masks, what masks are coming up next, this is probably one of my favourite levels in the whole entire game. There's lots of different shortcuts, there's lots of different ways that you can go about this level in order to complete it in the fastest possible time. This level can be really tricky until you master it, until you learn it, because there's so many different masters, so many different enemies, TNT and Nitro. There's even some sections which require you to keep hold of all your masks, so you can't get hit until you get them. This section that we're coming up to here requires you to have all three of your masks so you can speed through without getting hit by the flying discs. If you don't have three masks, this part can take you far too long to complete in order to get the time trial and the platinum relic completed. But now we're coming up to the best section of the game. And this is the best part of the game. It's so fast paced, and once you've learned it, you feel like you've mastered the game entirely. It uses every single mask in short succession in order to get you from one end of this to the other. There's no safe spaces on the ground. If you fall off, you will need to restart it again, because we're going for the platinum relics, and if you fall off, that means certain death. There's a few sections here that we needed to slow down on just to make sure that we can use the masks and get through safely without taking hit. We wanted to try and keep a mask as far as we possibly can do, but on this section when we spanned, we actually got hit. So as we say, we've been hit, so we're going to have to wait. Normally you jump through the lasers, but we've now had to wait for the TNT to blow up and the platform to come so we can get the mask above. We thought that we were a little bit slower here as we didn't manage to get that little shortcut. So we just progressed through to see what time we were going to finish, and using every single mask in quick succession. Any mistake here would have to restart the whole level, but we got through, we landed on the platform and we finished. I think we've we got the achievement, we did it! But we got the achievement and we got the final platinum relic. So, final step, the insane relics. The insane relics aren't too difficult ignoring the cortex level, because these are really hard. The annoying thing is getting towards the end of a level and not collecting every box, where you'll have to start again. That is of course ignoring toxic tunnels, which is by far the hardest level in the game. The reason that this one is so hard is because every other level in the game, at this point we had already completed the time trial relic, which means that we know how to complete the level without dying. And we can take our time, slowly go through the level, progressing at our own will to collect each and every single box. However, this level has a new area that we haven't been to yet. You need to get all 4 coloured gems in order to access this area. The reason that this area is so difficult is because there's no checkpoints along the way, and each gem is another area in this section and get progressively harder as you go through. So you can't just practice the red gem section, or you can't just practice the blue gem section. In order to practice the later gems, you need to complete every single section before you can practice it again. There are a few hard parts of this, just like this TNT stack, which Twitch chat told us that you can just slide through and not have to worry about the TNT. Then it's just a short train journey to the end of the gem path, and when you finish and come out, guess what? You're right back at the beginning of the gem path, where you have to complete the rest of the level again. This bug is my worst enemy. The amount of runs that this bug has killed because I've not waited for it to stop shocking. You run along the wall and then you are hit by it and your run has ended. Even the bonus section of this level is hard, but there's a few more tricky platforms. They get towards the end of the level, blow up the nitro, collect the last boxes, and you can breathe a sigh of relief. And with that, we've now completed all the insane relics. We've got all the platinum relics, we've got all the gems and all the flashback tapes. So we've got 106% completion of Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. So I think it is about time that we start to wrap up this video. So thank you for spending your time here and watching. Any comments or any feedback, please leave in the comments down below on YouTube. And you can also catch me out over on Twitch at The Smiley. Twitch links in the description. Thank you. Have a good day.